misty mountains cold.
Is this that Hobbit shit?
Welcome to that Hobbit shit. I'm Mike.
I'm Corey.
Hey, Corey. What are we talking about today?
Mike, we're talking about something that is going to require a trip to the Green Dragon. Episode 6 of the Rings of Pooer.
Ooh, let's go.
Okay.
But the only food for the brave and true comes from that Green Dragon.
Hey, Corey.
Hey, Mike. Good to see you.
Yeah. Oh, wait, sorry. Welcome to the Green Dragon, where we discuss the beers we're drinking during today's episode. Hey, Corey. What are you drinking?
Well, Mike, I have a guava ghost. That's right, Mike. Beer and guava are together at last.
You don't seem happy about this.
I'm hoping that this beer will be as much of a bad decision as the episode we're about to talk about.
Will be as what? Sorry, could you repeat that for the people in the back?
I don't think I'm allowed to in this segment.
Okay.
The rules of the segment don't allow me to discuss the episode. Only drop little hints. Ooh. Oh, okay. It's kind of sour. Hang on. What do we got? Okay. When you were younger, did you ever have the I think it was like Del Monte fruit boxes, like juice boxes?
I can't remember.
Okay, well, I'm picturing like a green juice box that I had in grade school, and I think one of the ingredients was passion fruit. Anyway, imagine that mixed with beer. This is from Collective Arts. It's not great. I mean, it's okay, fine. It's not to my taste, but ooh, yeah. I guess because it's a ghost, it's got that sort of salty, savory-ishness to it. But ooh, let's move on, Mike. What are you drinking?
Oh boy. Well, sorry, I know exactly what you mean because I'm over here drinking a pineapple jalapeno gose from Dead Frog Brewing, I think. Dead Frog Brewing, yeah. I couldn't find the name, but there's a dead frog on the label.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Water, barley, hops, yeast, pineapple, jalapeno, pink Himalayan salt.
Oh, mine has Himalayan salt too, Mike.
Interesting. Is yours a little cloying and nasty?
It is quite nasty, Precious.
Yeah, mine's not great. Mine's very jalapeno forward.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
You know how jalapeno kind of has that like peppery taste, the like almost like a bell pepper.
Yep.
There's a lot of that, and I'm not big on it.
Oh,
I was hoping there'd be more of a bite, but it's more of like the actual flavor.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, with a jalapeno, it can be sort of like almost more bell peppery than a bell pepper.
Yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily in a good way.
Yeah, I don't like this.
What have we done, Mike? Have we matched the episode too well?
I don't think so.
Okay.
This is 3.5% alcohol, by the way. I had two choices. One was a strong beer and one was a light beer. I chose the light beer.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe I should have chosen the strong beer for the argument we're about to have.
Oh, wow. You know what? Let's get out of here. Let's step into the street and have it out. Shall we move on to the summary of this episode?
Yeah, let's.
Okay. Sorry, wrong music. We open this episode of the Rings of Pooer with our favorite elf, Adar, planting a little garden. Then, when that's done, he and his orcs march on Helm's Deep, and the deeping wall isn't even locked. Wouldn't you know it? It's empty, Mike. There's no one there, except for a single elf. There's one elf, and when you know it, it's Arondir. Arondir knocks the ancient tower over with one arrow because it was only held together by ropes, Mike.
And it was very old.
Yes, it must have been if it was only that rope holding it up.
Numenorians had not yet landed on these shores, Corey.
so so building was limited to stacking rocks and tying them down with rope. That's fair. I can get
Yeah.
behind that. Okay, yeah. So the tower falls on most of the orcs, and the townspeople rejoice. And then we cut to Isildur, who is pretending to feed a horse on a boat, and he meets Galadriel, and land has been sighted.
Sorry to interrupt, but was he using that apple to smooch with the horse?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I gotta. I mean, I don't mean to nitpick, but when he pulled the apple away from the horse, there was not an extra bite in it.
No. You
uh,
know, Numenorian warriors bond with their horses for life.
so he just wanted a bit of that horse saliva. There would have been a more direct way for him to get it.
Like mouth kiss him?
Yes.
Okay. I thought you meant like spits on his hand and the horse spits on its hoof and they shake.
Oh, and they shake, yeah. And then they say, "Spit brothers," yeah.
Yeah.
No, not quite.
I'll stop interrupting. Go ahead.
Where were we? Land has been sighted. And then back to the humans with Arondir. They only have a single day to prepare their village for the next orc attack, which seems to be more than enough time. Night falls. There is some sieging. There is some action. Arondir runs into a big, scary, extra large orc, and they have a fight. Arondir predictably does not die. Then it turns out that the villagers win, and it turns out that there are only a couple of orcs among them, and it was mostly the other villagers who defected that they were fighting. Then the real orcs show up. Then the shit really hits the fan. And then one of our main characters, Bronwyn, gets an arrow to the knee, to the shoulder, and they fix it. And for some reason, they take away the piece of wood that she's supposed to bite down on for the pain. She has it for a bit, but then they take it away from her. And then Arondir makes.
She has it for one bit.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And inexplicably, Arondir makes her son do all the dirty work. I don't know why he forces him to do it. But they cauterize the wound. Sorry, I might have jumped ahead with the big scary orc. Meanwhile, about 6,000 more horsemen than could have possibly fit on those three boats arrive, and they come charging in with the dawn. It's Numenor, Mike, and though the orcs fight quite bravely, the sun is up and they are defeated by Numenor. And even Isildur gets switched into battle to get a little EXP boost. You know, like when you start a Pokemon battle with like your weakest Pokemon, and then you like switch them out right away to get the experience. Yeah, kind of like that.
But they brought him in right at the end.
Yeah. Well, it's the same idea. It's a metaphor.
Yeah.
He gets some cheap horseback kills. And so all this is going on, and Adar escapes on a Numenorian horse. Perhaps, Mike, I'm not sure. Perhaps it was even Elendil's horse, because he seemed to be the only person who fell off his horse. Galadriel gives chase, and they're having a crazy forest chase, and Halbrand somehow comes from miles in the opposite direction, trips Adar's horse. And at this point in the show, the audience is in doubt whether or not we'll see a single hobbit or dwarf in the episode, and we're all getting a little frustrated. But anyway, the day is won. And incidentally, Theo is officially the first person to go to Horny Jail over Galadriel, preceding our friend Gimli by a couple thousand years.
First person in a show.
Yeah, right. There's a whole age before this. So the day is won. Numenor rounds up all the orcs that they have not murdered, and they chain them up, and Adar is being interrogated by Galadriel. She asks about Sauron, and Adar explains that Sauron wanted secret knowledge, don't you know? And he even claims that he killed old Sauron. Galadriel goes off on a bit of an unreasonably bloodlusty rant about orcs. But remember that gross old man who was the Sauron pervert? Well,
I do.
Yeah, of course you do. He took the Sauron sword to what was apparently the appointed place, and he released a dam no one had previously mentioned. And we find out, sorry, this is dripping with sarcasm, I apologize. And we find out what all those orc tunnels were for, Mike. They were to set the freaking mountain off. So the water flows through and goes down into a volcano. And we see now that Adar's plan to block out the sun and I guess create Mordor in the first place, awaken Mount Doom, which is probably not yet called Mount Doom, et cetera, et cetera. He has finally made a home for orcs. And now onto notes. Mike, if you'd be so kind as to please make some sense of this train wreck.
Well, I will point out that they did show the keyhole last episode, the episode we hated.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So you might have missed that because I was groaning through it, but they did point out like this is where they want to take that hill and do something.
And do something. Okay, yeah. I stand corrected.
Yeah. Nampat, Corey. Nampat.
What's that?
I don't know. That's what the orcs were cheering.
Oh,
Or
yeah, okay.
Chanting. I thought maybe you would know.
I thought about looking it up. I bet if we
Yeah,
had
me too.
paused, I bet if we paused the show, the Amazon general trivia would have explained it to us.
Oh, damn. I should have thought of that. Whatever it was cool.
Well, okay. That brings up one of my notes. Again, the orcs do look fucking awesome.
They look awesome, and the depiction of the orcs is better than I could have expected, and the like humanization of them.
Yeah, yeah. There's a shot of a bunch of them at one point, and I noticed that one of them specifically is wearing chainmail that's like half rusty. Like it's not all rusty. It just looks so good, and you're just like that. There's just so much depth there to that crappy chainmail he's wearing.
Yeah, whoever was in charge of I think someone else was in charge of the elves, and someone else was in charge of the Numenorians, and then a whole different team handled the the orcs and the dwarves.
Yeah, that sort of makes sense actually. Yeah, and the team handling the orcs is very dedicated.
Yeah.
Further to the orc point though, Mike, I do like Arondir, but while he was fighting that big orc, I couldn't help but think to myself, wow, this would be so much more interesting if one of the main characters died.
You were right. Yeah, I wouldn't have wanted him to die, but boy, they should have killed off some humans, hey?
I think so, yeah. I mean, like, I hate to say it, but yeah, it would have added some like stakes, I think, to everything.
A couple of Isildur's buddies dying would have been cool.
Yeah, even that one that couldn't fight in the least.
Yeah, the coward. Yeah, I agree with you there. Having someone die would be good. It makes it a little bit silly, doesn't it? I mean, you can't kill any elves, but you could kill humans.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking it, and I thought, I bet he won't, and then he didn't, and then yeah, I don't know if the show has the cojones for that.
No, they don't. Corey, you totally called that tower getting toppled.
Kind of.
Yeah, maybe it was fairly obvious. I hated last episode, so I stopped paying attention. I called Adar being the original orc or Rook.
Yes, you did. Not to change the subject. There's something else you called. I can't remember what it is now, but something else came up that was definitely something you predicted. But
Oh, I don't know.
well, it was there.
Yeah, I didn't write that one down. I did write down Adar because I thought I just really like that character. I'm glad he's not dead either. I'm glad Galadriel didn't gut him like he gutted Sauron apparently.
Yeah, Edar is actually pretty interesting. It was kind of cool to have the parallel of like him planting little seeds and also Arondir planting little seeds.
Yeah. Arondir is trying to plant little seeds, I'll tell you that much. Okay, serious note. You know how they hide the hilt? They say, we'll just hide it.
Yes.
Is that some foreshadowing for how the ring is handled later on? Do you think? Like, because presumably there should be a legend about how Mount Doom was created and how there was this key and they thought they could hide it from the enemy, but they obviously couldn't hide it.
Oh, interesting. Huh. Wow. You I'm getting a little sour over here. I think you might have thought about it more than they did, Mike.
Okay, fine.
That's cool though. I mean, I like that idea.
I like this episode.
Oh,
It's my
did
favorite
you?
one so far.
It was my least favorite one so far. I'm gonna be completely honest.
Wow, it could be for me. It could be because I absolutely hated the last episode, and my expectations were in the sewer, and they're now like I don't know. It was pretty good. I liked it.
Okay.
I had some issues, but my issues are like long running issues with the show now, and it's hard to fault one episode for that.
Oh, yeah, I suppose so. I feel like it's for me, it's on a decline, and so little things are bothering me more than they were at the beginning, like in the first three, for
Yeah,
example.
there's some suspension of disbelief that just keeps building and building.
Yeah. For example, I laughed out loud so hard when Galadriel was on horseback and dodged that arrow.
See, I thought that was cool. Her horseback stuff was way more realistic than what Legolas was doing in Lord of the Rings in the movies.
Yeah. Well, and Legolas is definitely a precedent for these things.
He's also a lower tier elf.
Yeah, that's
Let's,
true.
let's be to be fair. Um, when she are you talking about when she went like side saddle?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Sorry, Corey.
That's okay. I laughed.
I fanboyed. I'm standing for Gladfield.
Well, okay. This does though bring up a Hobbit concerns-esque question for you, Mike.
Yes,
Um, do you think horses like to be ridden by elves? Because it seems like the elves that ride them mostly just show off, and the horse has to put up with it.
I think they probably love it.
You think so?
Yeah, I think for a horse, there's probably an obvious tier for beings on Middle Earth riding them, and elves would be at the top. Maybe, sorry, wizard would probably be at the top, then elves. I don't know where wizard would be, like Radagast, but probably depends on the wizard. But elf is up there, and then Numenorian, and then regular human, then hobbit, then dwarf, then orc. Do you think that's fair?
Maybe even orc before dwarf. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say I feel bad because most of my notes are negative.
that's okay. I got some positives.
Okay, go for
But
it.
this episode felt like a horror movie throughout, which seemed fitting for October 1st.
Oh, because there were people in costumes and there were orcs creeping into villages at night.
Yeah, it was like pretty gory, and there was a lot of suspense.
Yeah, yeah, it
You
was
know,
pretty
there
gory.
and I don't know. Yeah, the orcs were disgusting generally. Um, yeah, some of the suspension of disbelief, Corey, that um, I think you probably are going to bring up, so I'll bring it up.
Please do.
The Numenorians knowing where to go when they hit land.
Yeah, they had a map and they knew exactly where to go and how long it would take.
Yeah, because apparently Halbrand knew that something shit was going down in that area. I guess because that's where his people were waylaid.
I guess so. He's got a lot of experience being a king for someone who's never actually been a king.
Never been a king. Bit deceptive of him, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
Would you
He
call him the father of deceit?
the Adar of deceit, if you will.
Yeah,
Um,
deceitful.
Halbrand the Deceiver.
Oh, he might be the great deceiver. Um, how did Theo know where that hilt was?
Okay, yeah, that's not something I wrote down, but I was thinking about Arondir's like, I'm going to hide it. No one can know where I hid it. Obviously, Theo followed him, but then they were like, okay, the one place that we'll fall back to is the tavern. And so he hides it in the
Yeah,
fucking tavern. That might be the most obvious place.
yeah, he could have thrown it down the well.
Yeah.
I feel like there's probably a missing scene that was cut where either Theo was like watching him hide it, or Theo explains afterwards that he could feel a pull from it.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed beyond this Lord of the Rings show, in a lot of the streaming shows lately, like you know, now that streaming services have reached the point that cable TV was at like 10 years ago, where there's like a new show every day from one of them. I feel like a lot of these shows might be done dirty in post production, like in terms of editing.
Yeah, like dumbed down a bit and often stretched out further than they need to be because they have to hit 8 episodes for some point
Yeah,
for some
and
reason.
yeah, and also like perhaps crucial scenes being cut in favor of like I don't know, less crucial scenes for some reason. I'm not really sure. Like I noticed it
Yeah,
a lot in the Marvel stuff, I think.
yeah, the Marvel's really bad for it. Especially, I found Jessica Jones painful in its like weird, drawn out plot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Um, but anyhow, Rings of Power.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, sorry, but like, yeah, when Numenor, it seemed, I don't know, it seemed like there were some like intermediary scenes that I maybe were shot, but didn't end up in the show, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it seems like, for example, showing the Numenorians charging out of nowhere was kind of weird. Like,
And yeah,
and the timeline didn't really add up. They were charging during the day, and it was nighttime in the village.
yes, exactly.
They could have shown them making landfall and being like, "Oh, we have to be here, hurry!"
We better hurry. Yeah.
During the show, I wrote down, "Does the Sauron pervert have the hilt?" But obviously, he did.
Maybe that was the prediction that I knew about that you predicted.
Oh, cool. The bad guy vibes from Gladriel and the good guy vibes from Adar. I thought that was a cool little bit.
Yeah, Galadriel's rant about like wiping out every single last orc and also calling them Adar's children while she was talking about it was like
Yeah,
fairly brutal. Like,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. Halbrand was pretty into that. And what do you think Adar did to Halbrand?
um,
Adar, who killed Sauron? What did he do to Halbrand?
yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Probably what he implied that like he kind of like he made the old man kill the kid. He probably made Halbrand kill people, I would assume.
Oh, or
Possibly
did he,
people.
or did he kill Halbrand?
Uh, pardon?
I think that Halbrand is Sauron, and I hate it.
Oh no. Oh shit. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, I can see that as a prediction. I would also not particularly love that.
No, it just seemed there were so many vibes from it. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I could sort of see that being a kind of a lame plot twist. I still think the people that we saw at the Gandalf hole, I think one of them is Sauron.
I hope so. The Gandalf hole. More than a bit brave, Corey. More than a bit.
Sorry. We all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I was just going to say how cool the erupting of Mount Doom was. If they had to have it happen.
Yeah, I was a little taken aback. Maybe not taken aback, but I was like, oh, I see. So they have been in Mordor this whole time, but like Mordor is not the way that we know it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, sort of makes
But
sense.
now it is.
Yeah, and when he said he was going to blot out the sun and then to have like a constantly active volcano, that actually made a decent amount of sense.
And to run a waterfall into it. Have you ever seen clips of what happens when you pour water into a volcano or into lava?
No.
It just goes crazy, like a fire explosion if it's just a bit of water. And so to drop a whole lake into it was pretty would create quite a mess, I imagine.
Would create perhaps the hottest fires in all of Middle Earth.
Yeah, maybe.
I think we have to believe that,
Maybe
yes.
it was pretty cool how like it just starts raining hell on everyone.
Yeah, it was. I did kind of enjoy the ending of Galadriel just kind of being like in shock and getting engulfed in the shitstorm.
Yeah, like what have I done?
Yeah.
Also, Galadriel chasing down um Adar was pretty cool. Like, how is he gonna outrun her? Come on, buddy.
Okay. That brings up one of my points. I thought there were a lot of very specific callbacks to the Peter Jackson films in this episode alone.
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
like that one specifically, because Galadriel was whispering to her horse exactly the way that Arwen was whispering to her horse. She was saying like Nerolene something or other. I should know what she said, but yeah, and that was one of them. And I was kind of surprised because they kept doing parallels between Adar and the elves. I was surprised it wouldn't show him whispering the same thing to his horse because he would
Oh, yeah.
probably know that. Yeah. But there was that. Also, Arondir saying that destroying the hilt was beyond the craft that they possess.
Right,
Elrond.
right.
And when the water was spilling into the volcano, I swear that was like exactly the same shot as the beginning of the Two Towers when Gandalf is battling that Balrog.
Oh, cool.
It really reminded me of that, and I kind of half expected in some of the smoke and dust for that that Balrog face to appear, like in the preview.
We still have to see a Balrog, probably next episode, hey?
Uh, yeah, or the end of the eighth one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just to
Um,
leave us hanging.
there was another callback. Elendil speaking with a horse.
Oh, like Aragorn speaking to the horse.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, and also when Arondir was fighting the big orc, and he was about to um put a maggot hole in his belly, and someone killed the orc from behind.
yeah.
Yeah. Now I've referenced that scene.
Uh, that big orc fight was fun.
Yeah, he was cool. I liked him. Like I said, my sort of complaints about that is like partway through, I thought to myself, well, this would be a lot better if he actually killed somebody.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
I don't know, man. We're in the post Game of Thrones world, which came from the post Lord of the Rings world. So where are we now?
So you're saying they should have had a second original elf character who got killed by that big guy?
Probably.
Yeah,
or
that
like,
would have done it.
or even Bronwyn dying from the arrow. It's not that I want these characters to die specifically, but it's just like it, it would up the stakes. And since they've survived so much at this point, you kind of are now left. I guess the suspension of disbelief is left with like, well, they will probably survive till the end of the series.
Yeah, yeah, good point. Especially Bronwyn. My biggest issue with this episode was how she has, and it was my issue with last episode, how she became a leader for the people, and like suddenly she can give this inspirational speech.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's really into inspirational speeches.
Yeah, and also how they're just like, "Hey, this is your king," and they're like, "Okay, cool,
Oh, sweet. There he is.
yeah, finally, he's got the gunny sack. We're good."
Yeah. Yeah. I
Corey,
don't know.
you talked me out of liking this episode.
I'm sorry, Mike. I apologize.
It it was pretty fun. Numenor charging was that was another throwback. Numenorian horse charging.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like obviously a pale comparison to the Return of the King charge of Rohan.
Wouldn't the charge of the Rohirrim be a pale comparison to Numenor, Mike?
It should be.
And well, yeah, here we are back again at our point of
Yeah, so my worry is that Halbrand is Sauron, and if he is, then he has already been in Numenor and already plotted there, and
yeah.
therefore we're not going to get maybe we'll get the Numenorians going like full strength against him, but I don't know if we will.
I'm kind of curious if he has if he's supposed to have like more people, because there's just like a village of, I don't know, a couple hundred, which is down to like a couple dozen now. So I don't know what he is the king of.
Yeah, that village took some crucial kills, didn't they?
Yeah, they certainly did.
Like they lost half of them to evil, basically.
Yeah, and then
The orcs were just gutting them outright. That part was pretty cool, I guess, to see like the brutality of the orcs just like stabbing people.
Oh, actually, yeah, in the Tabor scene. Yeah, yeah, that was cool. That was evil. That was like scary ass orc shit. Yeah.
Just kidding. Yeah. But they just weren't anybody of consequence,
Yeah, exactly.
except for that old guy.
Oh yeah, the one with the hat.
Yeah, him. He's the guy who said, "More than a bit brave, elf. More than a bit."
Yes, he was our biggest emotional casualty in this episode.
Yeah, he's the guy with the cow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, I once again stand corrected. A main character was killed.
Hey, he is had a bigger role than any of the secondary elves we've seen.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
That was something I thought about after the episode. I was like, we've only really seen four elves. Wait, five elves total.
Yeah, yeah, you're
We
right.
there've been some in the background, but not consistently.
I would hope and imagine that word of a volcano erupting reaches Gilgalad and Linden.
Uh, okay, can I predict how the show's going to go? Can I give you my prediction?
Please do.
I think that Halbrand is Sauron, and
Yes.
I think that now that he is king, I remember he was shown to be an excellent smith.
Yeah.
I
Oh my God.
think he's going to meet the elves, and he's going to show them some stuff about smithing mithril and the rings, and then in secret he'll smith his one ring, and then he'll reveal
Oh.
himself for real to everybody.
Oh, of course. Like when he said to Adar, "Do you remember me?" And Adar
Yeah,
said, "No." And then he winked. He did that stage wink.
yeah, that's what I think is going to happen.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay, that's a good prediction. But who are those Swedish people?
Just Sauron perverts. There's a bunch of them. Wait, no,
Oh.
they're wizard perverts.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Sure. That actually
I
makes
think
sense.
I think they're red herring. They're actually not evil. They're probably maybe they've been like because I think the blue wizards are supposed to have landed in Middle Earth before the other wizards.
Oh, interesting.
So maybe they're wizard fellas, wizard people.
Huh. Okay. Wow. All right.
Uh, those are all my notes, Corey.
Okay. Yeah. I think I am also through my notes, Mike. We have discussed. Yeah.
Did you just transform?
Kind of realized I did that after I did it. No. I am will remain Galadriel. Yeah, I don't know. Do you think the next episode we will not see any humans or Numenorians, and we'll stick strictly to dwarves and hobbits?
I think we'll see a little bit, but I watched the preview, which is already available,
Ah,
and we're gonna see a lot of dwarves and hobbits, and it's great.
yes, yes, it will be great. We'll have to see what young Nori was up to when. Where were you the day that Mordor began? Okay, yeah,
Oh
I guess
boy,
we just gotta wait for the next one, right?
yeah, it'll be good. It'll be pretty good.
Yeah, all right, fine. Yeah, I've soured. I should admit that. There's no hiding it. This
I've been bouncing between like 6 and 7 out of 10 for all these episodes.
Yeah, I think I would have given a pretty solid at least a 7 to the first three, and then the fourth I was like, and this one I think I'd give a 4. um
Yeah, it was an upswing for me, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
yeah, well maybe now I'm where you were at the end of the last one, where my expectations are rock bottom, so I will be pleasantly surprised with the next one. But we'll see. Let's call it a day, shall we?
I think we should call it a day. Yeah, I think it's going to be great for it.
Okay, good. That's a good attitude for us, Mike. We'll have horrible beers to drink next time, and we'll have lots to talk about 1 week from
Yeah,
now.
I haven't even finished this beer. That's where I'm at.
Oh, yeah, I finished mine. I think it's better that way.
I think I'm done with mine.
At the very least, mine was like easy to drink. Like, you know, sometimes you get like a really, yeah, whatever. Anyway, thank you for listening. Catch us next week for episode 7 of the Rings of POOer. Instagram at Hobbit Shit, Twitter at that Hobbit Shit, patreon.com/that Hobbit Shit to get Hobbit Shit merch and stickers and posters and t-shirts and bears and chickens and dogs and things. And you can email us that hobbitshit@gmail.com. I'm Corey.
And I'm Mike.
And may the hair on your toes never
fall out.
fall out.